Artificial intelligence is rapidly changing the way we work, raising important questions about job security, skills, and the future of employment. Joining us today is Duran Humes. He's the CEO of Plato Alpha Design and Triblock HR, and he's here to tell us, or actually help us understand, how AI is reshaping the workforce and what workers and employers need to do moving forward. Good morning and welcome to Bahamas at Sunrise.
Morning, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so AI, it's the buzz term that's going on. Tell us really briefly, what is AI?
AI stands for artificial intelligence. It's basically, at the end of the day, automation, right? There's a different term that persons also use, augmented artificial general intelligence. That is something that is way off into the future, that where the computers can think for themselves, right? But right now, it's simply just automation at the end of the day.
Okay, all right. So why do you think people are a bit nervous? People in the workplace are nervous about AI?
Because it's change. It's the same thing when we had the Industrial Revolution, when we went from building cars by hand to now factories and machines building cars. Persons had to be reskilled and upskilled to now utilize those tools to build cars faster, get into the market faster, cheaper, and presumably better. Hopefully.
Yeah. Would you say that we are utilizing AI in our different workplaces here in the Bahamas?
We are.
Okay.
It can be used more effectively, but we are using it,
Okay.
right? But like I said earlier, it's simply automation at this point. So automating routine, simple tasks, like follow up with this particular guest. If you're in a hotel kind of context, right? And you have someone book a room with you, you have the automation go ahead and follow up with an email to say, hey, here are some of the things that we offer. We offer different excursions. We offer, let's say, Valentine's Day packages or whatever that may be. And that person can click a button and say, hey, I want to select the Valentine's package.
Okay.
No one is involved with sending that communication to the customer. It's simply automation.
Okay. All right. So, but does someone need to be in place to set that up?
Yes, initially, yes, someone has to be there to set that up.
Okay.
And then you have to work through the process. That's the whole thing that you would usually do when you're looking at implementing artificial intelligence, is that where it is best suited within your organization.
Okay.
And you figure out, work backwards from there. What are the steps that a person would usually do to fulfill, let's say, a particular order or a particular request?
Okay. So would you say then that there's a place where AI can actually take the place of an actual employer or worker?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
If your job is to do one simple, very routine thing, like let's say, for example, you want a person to come into your workforce and actually clean up data or clean up information or send follow-ups, like I said earlier, to a particular set of customers. That is something that artificial intelligence can do. You train it to do that, and it will do that. Now that person, they have to be retrained and reskilled or upskilled on something else. Maybe now their task is to cold prospect, to find new customers, right? To bring them into the door, and then have the automation follow up to make sure they actually convert into a customer.
Okay.
Right.
So it should be enhancing the workplace
Exactly.
then, right?
Exactly.
Do you find that a lot of Bahamians are nervous about AI coming into the
Yes.
workplace?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And why do you think that is? Do you think it's because we just maybe need a bit more education and training? What would you say?
Well, the main thing would be education and sensitization of it,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of this is very new. Although artificial intelligence has been around since the early 90s, late 80s, it's only really starting to get popular since ChatGPT to the world in 2019, 2020, right? But as it stands right now, it's been around for a while. It's been working in the background. It's now just coming to the forefront. So now persons are getting a bit worried because it came on so fast and it's moving very, very fast. You know, when money follows a particular industry, there's a lot of innovation behind it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. What would you say, or what advice would you give to the employers at the end of the day on how they can best utilize AI in their companies?
So one of the things that I would say is, looking back at a stat that I recently saw from the World Economic Forum, there were over 85 million jobs lost in 2025 and 97 million new jobs created because of artificial intelligence.
Really?
One of the things that you have to pay attention to as an employer is, how can I utilize artificial intelligence to deliver better service to my customers, right? having my staff train on using artificial intelligence in the way that they do their job currently, how can they move faster, provide better service, and better outcomes for my customers. And that applies across the board in any particular industry. It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Okay.
Whether you're in private sector, government, quasi, it doesn't matter, right? It can be utilized to facilitate better service to your customers.
Okay. So when you think about our country now and where we are, how would you suggest that we use AI to enhance what's going on currently in the country?
There's a lot of different ways.
Okay, give us a couple.
Yes.
Couple.
Okay, well, one thing I would say, at least that comes immediate to my mind, would be, let's say, if you're dealing with the banking system and regulators, how can we now, instead of having a person deal with all of those different applications that come in on a daily basis, how can we use artificial intelligence to essentially train it to be that person to an extent, right? Because you can train it to where it's at least 90% accurate, right? If, let's say, your threshold for satisfaction is 90% accuracy on this particular person's application, cool. Anything below 90%, that then gets passed on to that same person, who then, instead of having to review 100 applications a day, they can review 10 applications a day, right? So that they can spend more time and actually fulfill whatever needs that particular person has that would have made the application. That's a big part of the reason why you have such slow service dealing with banks, and you have to make a phone call from time to time just to get some things done, right? To push it to the top of the docket, right? Because they're overworked, they're overloaded, right?
Yeah, so it's just that level of efficiency at the end of the day, a lot more efficient at the end of the day. And do you think that AI is a sustainable approach to doing business, or is this something that's going to just like crash and burn in a few years?
No, this is not crypto.
Okay.
This is not crypto.
Okay.
So yes, it will stay around because it's useful. It actually has very good use cases, and it makes things better.
Okay. And you know, I want to know, just for you personally, tell us where you work and how you use AI in your business.
So I work at TriBlock HR. Some of the things that we do is we provide essentially the shovel for the persons that are going into the mine to dig the gold. So we have the platform that persons utilize on a daily basis to make their lives easier, make their employees' lives easier. So essentially, you as the HR administrator or the employer, your customers are your employees. How can you now make their lives easier? By making, let's say, your HR admins' lives a whole lot easier in terms of them being more efficient, more effective, utilizing the tools that implement artificial intelligence. So when we're talking about someone applying for a job, instead of you now having to sift through hundreds of different applications that you would say, hey, send to HR at company ABC, you can have them apply online and have our artificial intelligence sort and rank those different persons to say, hey, here's the best candidate. Go and interview them. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing today. This has been really, really helpful. And hopefully people aren't too freaked out about AI and they can actually use it to enhance their businesses, right? Don't be scared of it. Use it. There you go. Use it. It's definitely a tool. Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Bahamas at Sunrise. Use AI as a tool. Don't be freaked out by it. We'll be right back.